These are the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, four heroes in a half shell who became one of the biggest pop culture icons of all time. And with that fame came over 50 video games from the 1980s all the way up to the 2020s. So today I'm taking on the challenge to play every single one of them to see how the Turtles' legacy have evolved through gaming history. And it all begins in the late 80s with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Now do not be fooled by this awesome music it has going for it, because holy heavens, this game looks like a normal platformer at first, until you realize it's actually a psychological experiment designed to test your patience and emotional stability. You load up this thing thinking, oh cool, I can switch between four of the turtles, and then 5 minutes later you are standing on this bridge, sweating your ass off, praying that seaweed doesn't touch you, because if it does, your health just disintegrates, it's gone. But the thing is though, for all the pain you have to go through, I found this game weirdly ambitious. There's a full overworld map, vehicles, multiple playable characters, boss fights. They actually really tried here. It's just that the NES couldn't handle all of that ambition. So if you managed to beat this one without cheating, then congratulations! You are probably the most patient human being alive, because I got a feeling that water level was pretty much the end for most of us. Not me though, no, I had to suffer through that. But now let's move on to our second game, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles World Tour. Listen, I saw this game coming from a mile away, because every franchise had one of these games back in the days, and it's no surprise that the Turtles got one as well. This is your basic coloring software. You hop on it for like 5 minutes and never play it again. But for what it's worth, the background music they have is actually pretty awesome, but not nearly as good as our next game, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the arcade game. This right here is the moment TMNT clicked as a video game. The arcade version is absolute magic. 4 players, flashing lights, loud chaotic music, and probably 20 random kids all smashing buttons on a cabinet that smelled like Cheetos and spilled Pepsi. This game captured exactly what the Turtles are supposed to be. Fun, colourful, and a little dumb to be honest, but full of so much personality that you couldn't help but love it. And then you got the NES version, which is, oh bless this little 8-bit heart, tries its best to recreate the same energy on a hardware that can barely render more than 3 enemies without combusting. The sprites are obviously chunkier, the animations are a lot slower, and well, you can practically hear the console begging for mercy every time 2-foot soldiers appear on screen at once. But still, I am super impressed by how well the arcade version holds up. It's smoother and infinitely less painful than the first game. And shout out to Pizza Hut for sponsoring this game. On the NES version, I just casually see Pizza Hut signs that would like fall off the walls and stuff. Honestly, this is probably a fantastic marketing strategy back in the 90s. So yeah, pretty cool. But let's move on to the next game. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Fall of the Foot Clan. This was the first TMNT game on the Game Boy, which, considering the screen was about the size of a cracker, it's honestly impressive. This one is way simpler. It's a 2D beat 'em up stripped down to the absolute basics. You walk in one direction, you hit the bad guys, and you save April, and call it a day and go home. That is it. And you know what? I kinda fuck with it. The animations are clean, the music slaps harder than it has any right to, and for a handheld TMNT game in 1990, you know, it's shockingly playable. Each turtle has slightly different reach and power, which feels weirdly advanced for something running on 4 AA batteries. Yeah, it's easy, it's short, and you can finish it in like 20 minutes. But for what it is, it's a fun little time capsule. I can't lie, we're kind of on a roll here. These games are low-key awesome. Ah, bollocks, never mind. Okay, so this one is a bit of an oddball. Manhattan Missions wasn't on any Nintendo or Sega system. This was a PC exclusive TMNT game, and it's god awful. This game is slower than a real turtle moving, and the hit detection might actually be allergic to fun. It's one of those games that's more interesting to talk about than to actually play, because the whole thing is like this dark, gritty comic book vibe, where it tried to make TMNT feel mature before that was even a thing. This game is truly dogshit, and I've actually never seen a company go from the lowest of lows to the highest of highs with our next game. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first spotlight game of the video. Throughout this journey, I'll be picking 3 games that, in my complete bias and sleep-deprived opinion, stand above the rest. These are the ones that truly define what TMNT gaming is all about, and what better way to start than with the moment the Turtles absolutely peaked. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time. Everything you could want from a TMNT game is all right here. The arcade version straight up fucking rules. It's colourful, the animations are clean, and every punch just feels like you're doing this diabolical fatality. I mean, this move right here, yeah, that guy's dead. Like, he's dead. The foot soldiers are flying everywhere, bosses are yelling nonsense, and the music again is just that kind of stuff that's permanently burned into your brain. I don't know about you guys, but for the 90s, man, I think this game is so damn impressive. Just how smooth it all feels in general, like you're fighting through the streets, surfing on hoverboards, time traveling to fight dinosaurs. Somehow it all just works. The ambition and execution was done to perfection. This arcade version is incredible. So good in fact that a year later they released an SNES version, which deadass holds up just as well. It's missing that 4-player madness, but god damn it man, I love it just as much. There's new bosses, tighter pacing, launching enemies at screens is just as satisfying. Plus the dash move feels really good here. But yeah, honestly, this is where TMNT hit its golden age for this time. Everything before felt like practice, and everything after is just trying to catch up to that same lightning. Sadly though, they kind of fucked it with the next game, it is typical, isn't it? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles back from the sewers. So, well, after Turtle in Time absolutely bodied every arcade in existence, the Game Boy crowd, well, they got this. This is the most fine video game ever. It has the exact same basic setup as For the Foot Clan, but it's just a little bigger, a little prettier, and a lot slower. I mean, fucking hell. I was pulling out that slide mechanic just to try and speed things up. Ugh, just even thinking about moving in this game feels like donkey bollocks. But yeah, my biggest complaint is that this game just feels like it's constantly running on dial-up internet. Listen, the Turtles are back from the sewers. I'm glad. You know, we got another Game Boy game. But maybe they should have stayed down there a little longer because this one ain't great. But then they went back to the NES and released Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, The Manhattan Project. Sometimes you just gotta appreciate what you already have. And Konami definitely knew that, so they basically just juiced up TMNT 2 on the NES, and it turned out to be this game. We got the new levels, we got the new moves, and a story where Shredder decides to kidnap Manhattan. Like, literally, this dude just levitates the entire island into the sky. Each turtle has their own unique special moves now, which sounds really cool, until you realize it eats your health, because, yeah, apparently spinning around with a stick is physically fatal. Maybe they were just trying to be realistic. I know for sure I'd pull a muscle or two if I hit that move. But other than that, I'd say this game is a really impressive achievement for an 8-bit console. The levels look great and the cutscenes are fantastic. Sure, it doesn't have the crazy time travel levels or the big arcade moments, but it nails that satisfying beat-em-up flow. And they managed to do the exact same thing, but even better in the next game, TMNT The Hyperstone Heist. This one just confuses me of, first, why does it even exist? And secondly, why was it only released on a Genesis? Because this shit is really good, and that being because it's basically Turtle in Time, but like a really smaller version of it. They have the same sprites, the same general vibe going on, but fewer stages, fewer bosses, and obviously no time travel. That said, yeah, I kind of love this one. It feels faster, snappier, the enemies come at you harder, and overall, just a great time. Plus, the Shredder design at the very start of the game is just so good. My man is looking... Anyways, oh look, looks like Mikey's joining us. I guess he's taking over for now, so let's move on to TMNT Radical Rescue. So you'll start the game off as Mikey. Throughout the game, you rescue each turtle one by one, and every time you save one, boom, you unlock a new ability. Leo can slice through barriers, Donatello can climb walls, Raphael can crawl through tiny little holes, which I don't think that suits the character at all. It all feels like this massive little adventure. You've got an entire map, secrets, backtracking, all on the Game Boy, which is just insane. My only frustration with this game is fucking hell, it's hard. Like, I swear, this game does not respect your time if you fuck up. If you fall into a spike pit and die, oh, yeah, long day. You're sent back to the beginning. But needless to say, this is still a great game. I mean, for the bloody Game Boy as well, Jesus. And this was actually the last adventure game in this era, because our next game, well, it's just a little bit different. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters. Yeah, this is the one where the series just completely switches lanes after years of beat-em-ups. Konami basically saw that Street Fighter 2 was selling tens of millions of copies, so they dropped a TMNT fighting game. And honestly, it makes sense. I think the craziest thing is that there isn't just one Tournament Fighters, there are 3 of them. We got the NES version, the Genesis version, and the SNES version. Yeah, they may all be under the same title, but they're completely different. We'll start with the one that came first, the NES version. And I swear to God, it's a goddamn miracle that this can even run. It's like playing a Mortal Kombat through a microwave window. There's barely any animation. Half the moves don't even feel right, but man, I gotta respect the effort. They actually tried to do this. Luckily, the Genesis version is a little bit better. It was fine to play. It has this darker art style, slightly heavier combat. Well, I don't know, it feels sluggish. But the music and sound effects, oh, every punch feels like a damn car crash for some reason. And that is exactly why I like it. But to tie it all together, they released the SNES version. This is the one that everyone remembers. It's fast, it's colorful, and genuinely fun to play. It even got a Japanese release under the name TMNT Mutant Warriors, which I think sounds a lot cooler, to be honest. Now, the problem I have with these games is that there are some weird choices. I felt like some characters were completely useless compared to others. Goddamn Wingnut had some ridiculous moves compared to what I had. Yeah, I can't lie, the AI kinda wanted to destroy my ass. But still, the SNES version absolutely carries. It's got a great flow with the super moves, yeah, they're insane. But overall, this was a fun change of pace. Something different that we haven't seen yet. Almost like they were really trying to give the Turtles one last hurrah before things went quiet. And then, things did go quiet. For 10 fucking years. After Tournament Fighters, the Turtles just disappeared from gaming.
Which is insane, because this was the peak Turtle era. I mean, blimey, they blessed us with the next mutation, which made Splinter look like a feral coke addict. And the live action movies they released, well, let's be honest.
Cowabunga.
Huh?
They were the greatest thing ever.
I used to love watching these as a kid, it filled me up with so much joy. But they still didn't care to release a new video game.
And it's all because of timing. Gaming was changing fast, and suddenly the Turtles didn't really fit anymore. So for a whole ass decade, fans just waited. And it wouldn't be until 2003 that the Turtles finally came crawling out the sewers again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second spotlight game of the video. This one is special, a true hidden gem nobody ever seems to mention. Most people will remember the console version, and sure, that's the one that usually gets the spotlight. But for me, the Game Boy Advance version is the true underrated treasure. This is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2003. Alright lads, this is a big moment for the channel in fact, because this is the first time a handheld game has ever made it into the spotlight section of the series. And listen, like 25% of this pick is pure biased childhood nostalgia. Little me back in the days was thinking this was one of the top 3 handheld games ever made. And I kinda still believe that, but the other 75%, that's just because this game actually goes insanely hard. I'm being dead serious when I say the GBA version understands the 2003 series better than the big boy console version. We will talk about the console version in a hot minute, because I have a lot to say about that. However, in the meantime, the GBA devs were cooking an actual TMNT game. This thing is a fully unique 2D action platformer with style. And the gameplay is, oh bro, it's so good. You're flipping around, chaining those combos, smacking foot soldiers into the Shadow Realm. Everything feels snappy, deliberate, and punchy. And the little details, man, the nostalgia is just so unreal here. The rail shooting mini in-game stages were so cool. I wish there were more of them. This game just nails that 2003 vibe. The slightly darker tone, the incredible sprite work. The combat especially is just sublime. Although they have added back the strong attack that eats up your health every time you use it, so that's fucking brilliant. But I think the one negative I have for this game is that the platforming can be a tad jarring. Because, well, with the GBA screen being so damn small, when you try and make a jump, you are just winging and praying you make it to the other side. But half the time you probably won't, because you have to perform a different move to get across. Other than that though, I love this game to bits. The story's great, the gameplay's fantastic, it does not overstay its welcome. And that's where we move on to the console version, which unfortunately, holy shit, this does overstay its welcome. It claims to be a retelling of season 1 of the TMNT show, but honestly, it feels like the developers skimmed the Wikipedia summary and only added the bare minimum, because one moment you're dealing with Mousers, the next you're hanging out with Casey, and then suddenly just the plot wanders off to do its own thing. They did throw in some original animated cutscenes, which is definitely cool, but you can instantly tell which shots are from the show and which ones the game cooked up at 3 AM. I'll give them some praise though, the cel-shaded look still holds up. Adding outlines on characters just instantly makes it evergreen. But anyways, on to gameplay wise, it's shockingly solid. Each turtle has their own vibe, but let's be honest, out of all of them, I think Mikey is just broken. He is so much faster, he hits like he's in a different game. He is the golden child, the devs definitely spent too much time testing this boy out. Now let's move on to my biggest complaint, which is just where the game really falls apart, and it's the structure, man. To get to the final boss, this is the dumbest shit ever. You have to beat the game 4 times, going through the same stages, the same enemies, and the same dialogue. Fuck am I playing this game 4 times? Who do you think I am? Now, to be fair, I've kind of really shit on this game, haven't I? Look, the first playthrough is good. It's pretty fun, it's dramatic, it has some genuinely cool moments, and the soundtrack is once again golden. It's just the replayability isn't there for me. And having the final challenge locked behind this system really dragged. So yeah, not necessarily a bad game, just one that overstays its welcome if you let it. And only 1 year later, they in fact dropped the sequel, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 Battle Nectus. We'll start with the console version this time around, as yes, it also had a GBA version, but that one compared to the first game, oh god. Anyways, the console version has got to be the most diverse thing on the internet. Holy shit, people do not like this game. And yeah, that caught me a little bit off guard. Although I didn't think it was that bad, I thought it was like okay at best. There is quite a bit to hate here, and okay, we'll jump straight into that. The combat is just the worst ever. I mean, what are we doing here? This feels like such a downgrade from the first game. It feels so stiff and delayed. I actually preferred playing as the unlockable characters because for some reason they felt a tad bit better to control and a lot stronger in some scenarios. Now the story is actually decent, again the show is carrying this, but the pacing is just off. You'll get your cool moment and then you're stuck in the sewer for 20 minutes fighting the 4 exact same robots. Or my god, the bloody underground monster dudes fighting these were such a pain in the ass, man. But yeah, this console version, it was okay. It was okay. And I'll quickly touch on the Battle Nexus mode as well, which yes, that is what the title of the game is called. And it's a completely different game mode that just has you fighting a bunch of bosses. That is actually all I have to say about this. I only played it for like 10 minutes because, well, that was what the game was titled. So yeah, moving on to the GBA version. The main reason I think this is such a downgrade from the Spotlight GBA game is because here the story just feels like nothing, man. It feels so lifeless. It's a shame. I can still appreciate the sprites and stuff, but like, even the combat has been tweaked to be a bit shit. I don't really get it, you know, like why? But comparing it to the first game, this is just worse. I apologize for complaining, but not all my opinions can be positive, otherwise, well, what's the fucking point of making this video in the first place? But enough of that, let's proceed to the third installment of this trilogy. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 Mutant Nightmare. Instantly, this console version is so much better, all because they went back to formula by making this a beat-em-up game. This one follows its predecessors by adapting the story arcs from season 3 of the cartoon show. And I gotta say, these are some really enjoyable boss battles, man. The controls are so much more responsive, combos have been expanded, and overall it's a much more polished experience compared to the others. They've also done us a solid by completely removing platforming in favor of straight combat levels, which is glorious. And another thing I can happily praise here are the visuals. I do love myself a good bit of cel shade, and they've done it really well here. My time with this game was so much more fun, and even though there are still a few flaws, mainly in like the pacing, I just want to kind of look at this game in light because they even went out of their way to add Turtle in Time as a bonus game you could play. Now this feature was also in Battle Nexus. I don't actually know why I didn't mention that, but that port was kind of crap. I mean, they removed all the original audio and replaced it for some repetitive bollocks. So that wasn't great. But the port of this game is a little bit better. They removed all the audio again and replaced it with a DS version of Mutant Nightmare, which actually has a really awesome soundtrack behind it. Holy shit, nostalgia is flooding in. I used to love this game, which is funny because, God, it's so ugly. You can easily put this on the GBA and it wouldn't make a difference. In fact, it would make it look better. Some of these environments and backgrounds are gross to look at, but besides the ugliness, I used to have such a good time with this game. Nowadays, not so much, but it will always have a special place in my heart. And hey, the same applies to this next one. TMNT Mutant Melee. Okay, the story mode in this game is absolutely brutal. And not in a fun way, man. On higher difficulties, it feels less like a challenge or more like the game just personally trying to hate you. But that's not why anyone remembers Mutant Melee. The real reason this game exists is the 4-player versus. And honestly, this shit was awesome. You've got the last man standing, knockout, king of the hill, weapons flying everywhere, boxes getting launched across the map, Foot Clan arenas turning into pure chaos. It's peak early 2000s couch co-op energy. I have no friends, so I didn't get to play this again, but back in the days, it was a good time. And here's the wild part, the mechanics are way deeper than the game ever explains. Every character has multiple hidden special moves. Dio's got his wall lunges, Raph can parry mid-attacks. My boy Splinter can literally heal himself during a fight. You can deflect, throw objects, spend meter on projectiles, grab enemies whilst they're blocking, and the game tells you none of this, you just kinda gotta learn it. So in conclusion, playing this game solo is dog shit, but playing it with friends, ho ho. Mutant Melee is awesome. But now we're moving on to 2006, and I just want to prepare you to prepare for the worst, because these next 3 games are just, you know what, you'll see. And we're starting with TMNT Fast Forward. Welcome to the first mobile game, kind of. I mean, this game was released on the Java 2 platform, which is basically mobile. And we start off with this, like this one absolute clusterfuck. I mean, dude, what are we doing here? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Power of 4. Yep, the same goes for this one. Although this is actually like a tiny bit better. I actually like the van missions. That was pretty good. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Ninja Adventures. You see what I mean, boys? This is the true shit sweep of the video. Ninja Adventures is so ugly. From the fonts they use, to the backgrounds, to the PNG crop outs of the characters themselves, it's all just hideous. It does not surprise me that this is an activity center game, and if I had received this as a gift, I would have cried.
Hey, stay with me. We gotta push through the shit to get to the good. And we're on our way, because when I saw what was next, oh my god, I was like, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the third spotlight game of the video. This, I'll be dead ass, is a game that is so poorly reviewed, but I don't give a f. This shit right here is my TMNT game, and that game is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2007. Look, sometimes when a game is shit, there's usually some hidden beauty behind. Who the fuck do I think I am? I'm not some philosopher. What I'm trying to say is that I can respect the shitness in a game sometimes. So here we go, TMNT, the movie game. This was the era where movie tie-in games basically took over the world. I mean, you had your Shrek games, the Spider-Man games, the fucking B-movie game. This was peak entertainment back in the day. And this game right here, it joined that experience. The combat to start is so good. It's fast, flashy, and super fluid. So many combos you could pull off. Wall runs were in the game. Acrobatics overall, dude. For once, you really felt like a Ninja Turtle. The parkour is next level in this. The turtles themselves feel extremely distinct. Leo is clean and controlled. Raph hits like a tank. Donnie plays smarter, and Mikey is fast and chaotic. I mean, in these first missions, he dresses up as a turtle, and you'll be fighting in that thing until mission 6, which is like stupid but amazing. Like, imagine me dressing up as a human. How does that make sense? Anyway, story-wise, it loosely follows the movie, but honestly, it kind of does its own thing, and that actually works in its favor. You're bouncing between the turtles as they're all off doing their own missions, dealing with personal stuff, fighting crime, and slowly building towards everything going completely off the rails. It gives the game this really nice pacing where you're not just doing the same thing over and over again. You've got your classic street level fights, rooftop chases, big vertical platforming sections, and these cinematic set pieces that feel way more ambitious than they had any right to be. And the overall tone of the game, it nails it, man. It keeps that slightly darker, more serious vibe the movie was going for, but it still knows when to have fun with itself. It never feels like goofy in a bad way, you know, and it never forgets that this is still a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game where you're supposed to feel cool as hell the entire time. Now, this spotlight doesn't just include the console version, because the Game Boy Advance game is also peak as hell. Yeah, you heard that right, we are in 2007 and the Game Boy is getting one of its final video games to release, and happily I can say it's goddamn awesome. This isn't some watered down port, thank god, because I had no idea how that would even look. It's its own proper 2D action game. The developers have nailed the limits of what the GBA can do, and so they got to work and made those clean sprites, awesome music, and incredible combat. For some odd reason, I vividly remember being fascinated by the fact that you can pick up other enemy weapons and use it against them, like these ninja stars for example. I don't know why I thought this was so amazing. My mind back then was like slow, but also blown away by the fact that I can do something like that. Anyways, for a late era GBA game, this thing is punching way above its weight class. You know, I'm praying this hype train continues. Hang on a minute, it looks like Donatello's joining us. Let's all get on our knees and hope he gives us some good luck. Oh, for fuck. You know what? I'll give this game props for 2 reasons. The music is extremely catchy, and this is in fact the first turn-based RPG TMNT game, which I just don't like too much. I mean, I'm not a big fan of turn-based combat overall. Other than that though, this game has this really weird mystical fever dream vibe that I cannot shake. I think it's the combination of music and visuals that screams 2000s. Plus, it's based off the TMNT 2003 show, and after the turtles complete the trials, they are granted mystical powers to turn into a dragon. I don't think I ever made it that far into the show, but I'm pretty sure it was like season 5 if I'm correct. The strangest part is that these powers make a return in the next game, TMNT The Shredder Reborn. This game is like the last one. It's funny because there's like no explanation for why they still have these magical powers. I'm pretty sure it's
a sequel, I mean, it sure looks like one. And the story is a whole lot different, but to be honest, I cannot be bothered to ramble about a game probably none of you even know exists. So let's just move straight on to the one you probably did play, TMNT Smash Up. This shit is actually hilarious. Ubisoft basically did the exact same thing Konami did in the 90s with Tournament Fighters, and this time it's 10 times more obvious. In this moment, Ubisoft have taken control of TMNT, and they noticed that the Smash Bros. Series was empty in wallets, man. And so they fully, and this is not an exaggeration, they completely copied them. So much that they even got the goddamn team who made Smash Bros. Brawl to make Smash Up. It's so shameless, I love it, like, fair play. But to talk about how the actual game plays, I really like it. After reading reviews, I noticed that people seemed weirded out by the art in some cutscenes, but in my eyes, that's a simple callback to the original comics the two brothers created. And if I'm not mistaken, they actually came back to draw these for the game, which is so cool. Gameplay wise, it's really fun. The combat is smooth, the animations are really clean, and the 3D models are incredible for a game back then. Part of me just wishes it wasn't as similar to Smash Bros, because sadly I would definitely choose to play Smash Bros over this, unless I really wanted to play as my fellow oversized rat. But in short, it's a great game. It had the foundation, and the fighting is really fun, but it does kind of feel a little bit unnecessary to make. I mean, just put the turtles in Smash Brothers, you know? But boy, when I tell you this next game is so much more unnecessary. Well, I mean that because it's bloody Turtles in Time reshelled. You guys know I love the original Turtles in Time, so I kind of have to like this game. However, I still prefer the original because I adore the pixel art in that game. It's incredible. To remake this game in HD sounds like a pretty smart move. It's almost a guaranteed profit. Even though they only charged $10 for it, I believe. It might have been 15 originally, actually. But it's just Turtles in Time with graphical upgrades and the ability to hit enemies in 8 directions instead of left to right. I think this game was made in the first place to honor TMNT's 25th anniversary, which makes a whole lot more sense remaking one of the best TMNT games ever made. Hell, one of the best beat-em-ups of all time even. But I do think the execution could have been a little more than what we got here, because this game does feel a little bit shadowed compared to the original. Hang on a minute, we've jumped like 3 games here. Oh shit! TMNT Arcade Attack. Wait, are you telling me we're about to put all the arcade classics on the DS? No, of course they're not. Instead, they have created an imposter that's trying to join the legacy of those arcade classics. This game leans heavily on nostalgia, slapping what I think is the 87 Turtles on the cover to lure the kids in, even though all the kids back then are like 30 now. Although the art style here is so unique as well, I don't know what's going on. I think this game just suffers a full-blown identity crisis. The gameplay vaguely mimics classic arcade titles, the story and characters writing feels lifted from the 2003 series, and the cutscenes use the comic-style Turtles. It all makes this weird hybrid that never fully works. This definitely wasn't an arcade revival. In fact, the best way I could put it is that it was a rushed, confused license game hiding behind the reputation of the better TMNT titles. And after this one, TMNT as a whole just kind of lost its anchor. Behind the scenes, Mirage Studio had sold TMNT to Nickelodeon back in 2009, and in 2012, that reset finally landed with a CGI series, reintroducing the Turtles to an entirely new generation, and suddenly the games were back. But the first game they dropped was a goddamn mobile rooftop runner. Fuck's sake. Dude, I remember the days I'd get shut down asking to buy a mobile game on the App Store. Luckily, I was actually allowed to get this one back in the day, and surprisingly, it did not disappoint. This is just your average mobile game rooftop runner. It's no Subway Surfers or Spider-Man Unlimited, but this one is in a 2D format, and it's pretty fun. Not the game I'd expect the reboot to start off with, hence why I said fuck's sake. But hey, guess what? The next one they made was also a mobile game. TMNT Mutant Rumble. I deadass think I could have made this myself. It's that bad. Like, I mean, look at this, man. The combat is so awful. They're not even looking at the bad guys. They didn't bother to animate their heads. The UI as well is just a couple of PNGs slapped on top of each other. It just feels so lazy and unworthy to be a TMNT game. We are truly going backwards in evolution right now. Surprisingly though, the next game actually takes a huge U-turn. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. This game is bad in every aspect ever, but I cannot shake the thought that this is also cool. I mean, look at it. It looks cool. The combat is like Arkham Batman. How can that not be cool? Unfortunately though, it completely misses what makes the Arkham style work, because this combat kind of lacks everything, whether it's rhythm, impact,
flow. It all just feels like this unsatisfying ball of shite.
Now, this may be your favorite TMNT game, and I will not shade you for that at all. But I'm sorry, there are so many flaws to this. The camera, for one, is a constant issue. The level design has a really poor direction that often leaves you wandering around unsure of where to go next. And your fellow turtles aren't much help when controlled by the game. I can imagine playing online with friends improves the experience, but then again, that makes the game beyond easy. Yet again, I am sorry for those who played this as a child and have nostalgia for it. However, I was actually excited to play this because it looked graphically impressive and seemed to be quite polished. But no, my spirit was crushed, and yet again, they've missed out on making a fantastic 3D open zone type of TMNT game. I don't know, you lot, I'm just craving something good at this point.
TMNT 2014.
Finally, a fully functional TMNT game based on the reboot show. This game taught me an important lesson, people. Sometimes the things you expect to be terrible are actually terrible. And that leads me to my next opinion. This game is not that good. It runs poorly, it looks rough. It even sounds bad. Oh my god, man. Some of the dialogue was 100% recorded on someone's iPhone 3. What's worse though is trying to figure out what disappoints me more. The fact that this is a poorly written game based on a genuinely well written show, or the fact that I have exactly one attack for all 4 turtles. One button for one attack. That is just... what is the bloody point? Look, the 3DS version, on the other hand, does feel small and cheaper. I'm not even going to justify it, man. It's bad. You have fewer enemies, simpler levels, less going on. But at least it does run consistently and doesn't pretend to be something it's not. It's basic, but it knows it's basic. So yeah, let's just move on. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2014. To be honest, I'm just baffled this game even exists. It's a super simple beat 'em up made for quick sessions. You punch the foot soldiers, press the same buttons over and over, and occasionally fire off special moves if you're feeling fancy. On mobile, it plays exactly how you would expect. Tap the screen, hope your turtle hits something, and then rinse and repeat. But the 3DS version is slightly better thanks to the real buttons, but it's not better by much.
And that is all I have to say about that one. It's kind of diabolical how much shit we've gone through in the past, 4 minutes? And it ain't getting any better, apparently. But hey, at least Raphael's here to take over for now.
Dude, I felt like I was playing this game in slow motion. It was grueling to move, to fight, to even get through the story. Which is sad because this seemed like a cool 2.5D Metroidvania game. But no, it's not that good. It should have been the game where exploration saved TMNT, but instead backtracking just feels like jogging through the same hallways, wondering why nothing ever gets more exciting. You know what the real crime is? The turtles don't feel dangerous. These are ninja warriors raised by a rat to take down crime, and they feel light. Even when you unlock new moves, the game never lets you feel powerful. You don't dominate the rooms, you just finish them. Where the fuck is the fun in that? Just let me play the game how I want. Come on, give us something good. I'm on my knees, I'm on my knees. Yeah, no. Fuck. What? What the hell is this? Are you actively trying to make me not make this video? This is some sort of puzzle / Candy Crush type of game where you basically just gotta match the icons on the grid, and depending on what you match, your turtle will either punch something, throw something, or heal by eating pizza. I don't think the concept is awful, but I think it's awful that it's a TMNT game, you know? My boys deserve better than this.
And quite frankly, so do I. This game stole 30 minutes of my life I'll never get back.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Portal Power. I had a script for this game, but after reviewing that, I kind of figured I'd save you from the yapper because, in summary, this is such a basic, repetitive, and honestly kind of bland moment-to-moment game. However, it did do one thing right, and that was the customization. I remember this being one of the last mobile games I properly played, and back then my obsession was collecting all the costumes for the turtles because they looked insanely cool. Other than that though, the gameplay does get really boring. I mean, you control all 4 turtles at the same time by swiping them into enemies like action figures. Pretty much your typical mobile game.
I'm gonna rip my eyes out if we don't get something good soon. Please!
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutants in Manhattan. This game caught me by surprise. The art style is so fucking cool. Look at this, it's like proper comic vibes. Plus the cutscenes are phenomenal. Probably because this is one of the very few TMNT games that actually include cutscenes. And maybe I've just been waiting for this moment for the entire video. Anyways, this is an open world-ish beat 'em up game at first. Like, I was genuinely impressed, man. You can climb almost any wall, use your shell to glide across Manhattan skylines, collect charms to boost your health and abilities, and freely level up and customize each turtle's special attacks. Finally, a TMNT game that has a good bit of depth in it. Each stage will have its own boss fight, but to reach them you gotta complete these series of randomly generated objectives scattered across these open areas. I can't lie, this is the part of the game where there's no depth. You either just defeat some enemies, protect an item, pick something up, and deliver it somewhere else, maybe defuse a few bombs, and well, rinse and repeat that every single level. The boss fights themselves are at least appreciated. It's really cool to see a decent variety of TMNT villains, but only a couple of them feel meaningfully different. What I mean by that is all 9 bosses ultimately boil down to you and your 3 AI turtles completely rushing and spamming attacks until their multiple health bars are drained. Unfortunately, I gotta say these boss battles don't really give off a good story either. It is the most predictable setup imaginable. You beat the bad guys to reach the biggest bad guy, well, that's it. Now look, I'm honestly gonna give this game more praise than it deserves, because comparing it to some of the other games, this is far better and more enjoyable. The combat and movement is actually fluid and clean here. You can completely turn off your brain and still have a good time. Sadly, the same cannot be said for our final mobile game of the video. Yes! Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Legends. I think I just find them a bit boring, and well, to put another mobile turn-based TMNT game in my hands, I can't really say I enjoyed it. But visually, the game is fine, the character models are good, the animations are decent, and it clearly respects the source material. Plus, it's still getting updates. That actually blew my mind a bit. But now let's move on to a game that I felt like I definitely played in the past, but I really cannot remember it for the life of me. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Arcade. Well, if you went to an arcade in 2017, you probably would have stumbled across this bad boy. Now look, I was gonna find a way to play this version, but then I found out they re-released it on console 7 years later, with a bit of extra content thrown in as well. So I'm just gonna put this on park for now, and we'll come back to it when we actually reach that year. And honestly, that delay kind of sums up where TMNT games were at this point, because after this, the franchise just stops again. Nickelodeon kind of failed at the TMNT video games, and that silence lasted 4 whole years. But that gap is actually really important, because when TMNT finally comes back after all of that time, it goes right back to what made these games work in the first place. And that's where all of this has been leading to. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Holy Grail segment of the video. The spotlights are meant to show the best of the best in a franchise, but there is only one game that truly goes above and beyond being the best TMNT game ever released. And that game is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. There's never been a game that resembles a love letter to its fans more than this. Shredder's Revenge is the perfect combination of nostalgia with modern flair, and it fully shows. Straight off the bat, I'm starting with the pixel art in this game because Jesus Christ, it's gorgeous. So good, in fact, you've seen me use these sprites throughout the entire video. I cannot praise the team enough for making such beautiful animations. And shit, one day I wish I could do stuff like this myself, man. Same goes for the environments and soundtrack. Everything has this incredible polish to it, which makes the game feel that much more enjoyable. The combat is simple on the surface, but there is so much depth with the dodges, the juggles, and special moves that it doesn't just feel like you're mashing the buttons. Each of the turtles feel distinct, bosses are memorable, and the game constantly throws new locations and enemy types at you to keep things fresh. But let's be real, co-op is where the game really shines. Up to 6 players turns Shredder's Revenge into pure chaotic fun, just like the arcade days, man. I did play the majority of this game solo, and I still had the time of my life until I came across my only issue with this game. It's way too short. I wish it was longer because I just want more of this, man. That being said, it doesn't overstay its welcome, which I can fully respect because it's not trying to be this 50-hour experience. It's a tight, polished brawler that knows its lane and absolutely nails it. I even managed to get every single achievement on it, which isn't too difficult, I can't lie, but I don't usually go out my way to 100% games, and honestly that kind of says everything you need to know. I ended up doing it because I was having fun the entire time. Every level felt worth replaying, every boss felt satisfying to master, and even on repeat runs I never found myself bored or zoning out. This is one of those games where you finish it, sit back, and immediately think, yeah, this was something special right here. Not because it reinvented the wheel, but because it perfected something that already worked. It understands understands Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It understands arcade beat-em-ups. And most importantly, it understands why people fell in love with these games in the first place. If you grew up with the Turtles, this is as close you're gonna get to reliving that magic. And if you didn't, well, this is still a game that'll make you understand why this franchise has lasted as long as it has. But enough of that wholesomeness. It was good to finally praise a TMNT game after such a long time. This game is awesome, go play it, it's my favorite TMNT game ever made. But now let's jump into the next one. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Cowabunga Collection. Of course this is gonna be good, this is how I got to play most of the old games. It's simply a collection of 14 retro TMNT games, ranging from the very first to Turtles in Time to even all versions of Tournament Fighters. This is a retro collection done right, and to be honest, that's simply all I have to say about it. But now, guess what? We're in 2024, so that takes us back to TMNT Arcade Wrath of the Mutants. So yeah, this one should have been bulletproof. It's the 2017 arcade game, which is your average classic arcade brawler. It has loud visuals, simple controls, big bosses, 4-player chaos, the TMNT formula that literally cannot fail really. So when you punch a foot soldier, the screen explodes with color, the music kicks in, and your brain is overdosed in stimulation, but in a good way. Enemies don't swarm you anymore, hits don't feel desperate, and there's never that moment where the screen is absolute nonsense and you're just surviving on instinct. It looks modern, sure, but it plays really safe. And with this being an expansion of the 2017 arcade game, 7 years later, it doesn't feel evolved, it just feels kinda preserved. Hey, you'll never guess what our next game is. No! We're back to the tie-in games. Actually, this one was alright. Mutants Unleashed feels like a follow-up to the Mutant Mayhem movie, because it seems like it takes place straight after it. It's colourful, energetic, and very Nickelodeon-brained, and it's absolutely aimed at a younger audience first. Which is completely fine, but you definitely feel that target audience in everything it does. Gameplay-wise, it's just a light brawler mixed with platforming. You run around the semi-open levels, beat up the enemies, and then move on. But the combat works, the movement feels alright, but unfortunately, nothing ever evolves. You've basically seen what the game has to offer within the first hour. But to nearly end this video, they went and released such an underrated game. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Splintered Fate. So, I'm a really big fan of Hades, right? So when I found out that this is pretty much TMNT x Hades, holy shit, I got really excited. And in the end, I had an incredible time. What a fun take on a roguelike game. The setup is simple. Splinter has been taken, the city has gone to hell, and you're diving through randomly generated levels trying to fix it. But the hook is how good it all feels to play. The combat is so fast, so clean, and way more satisfying than it has any right to be. Dodging, abilities, builds, it's all tied just like Hades. Every run actually feels different depending on what upgrades you get, so you're not just mashing through the same thing over and over again. And some builds, man, they can be so powerful, it's crazy. Visually, the game is nice looking. The comic book style works perfectly for quick, chaotic fights, and the presentation punches way above what you expect from what started as a mobile game. Yeah, this thing was meant to be a mobile game, which usually means certain failure, but no, it's really good. Don't get it twisted, you can still see the mobile route shine through. But compared to a lot of TMNT games that feel half-finished, this one knows exactly what to do, and it does it really well. I thought this was going to be the last released game we talk about, but no, I stumbled across Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tactical Takedown. This game seems so off the radar. It has a whopping 135 reviews on Steam, so I'm not sure if many of you will even recognize it, but this one goes full turn-based tactics, and yeah, it ain't for me. I tried it, I tried my best. But now, well, do we have any more games left actually? Oh yes, of course. How could I forget? No, I did not forget. I'm just really disappointed. You guys have no idea how excited I was for this game. And I'm speaking past tense because I'm pretty sure it's fucking cancelled. It was revealed 2 years ago, and the layoffs that the company had was devastating. If The Last Ronin ever comes to life, it could be one of the best, if not the best TMNT game if they do it right. So make it happen! And if it's been cancelled, then please tell us. I need to know. I need some information on this game.
And with that being said, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are a group that's evolved so much over the past 40 years. Some of it being total bollocks, but the rest of it just coming full circle and doing what it does best. And looking back at this video right now, it's clear that the Turtles are icons. Heroes in a half shell who have dominated media. And if you've managed to stick with me all the way to the end of this video, genuinely from the bottom of my heart, thank you for watching. If you want to show any support to the channel, liking the video, dropping a comment, tell me your favorite TMNT game, or simply subscribing really does mean a lot. And now everyone, I've been holding it off for the entire video, but now I finally get to say it. Cowabunga!